Alright, so today's video we're going to talk about something I think is complete horseshit. There is no hate towards DMG here. I'm pretty sure he was paid to say this. Um, Even if he wasn't, I would recommend that he goes back and looks at 3 years, the last 3 or 4 years in a row, for the yearly resets, the final seasons after the big DLC comes out, that final season comes out. And he should look to see if we didn't get exotic armor or aspects before any of those seasons, the final seasons of those years. And he should look back and see that this excuse sounds like complete horseshit, like he's been paid to say it. And if he did say this and he thought this was a legit reasoning, again, mate, you should go look at the previous ones and realize this is not the truth behind it. And I figure he was definitely paid to say this because it makes the most sense, because he is aware of how the Bungie higher-ups are a bit of dickheads. So, yeah, we're going to talk about this. So, here the feedback on concerns over a lack of exotic armors for Heresy. So, if you didn't know, there's no exotic armors for Heresy, which I knew there wouldn't be because every year, like I said, for every DLC that comes out, that final season, part of that DLC, has not had exotic armor for the last 3 or 4 in a row. So, I knew this was going to be a thing. It was obvious. It was stupid, but it was obvious. They've also not given us aspects when we do get yearly aspects throughout the seasons. They have not, which this year we didn't get anything for Prismatic, so it didn't matter. But for the previous ones, yeah. So, unfortunately, knew this was going to be a thing and knew it was going to be trash. But we're going to continue it because this is where the problem becomes a problem. My point of view, and totally understand if there's disagreement. Again, I don't believe for a second this is his actual point of view because he's seen the corruption in Bungie, he's seen the issues. I'm pretty sure this was him having to be type this manually because he was paid to type it. If he does think this is his point of view, if he does think this is an accurate statement, mate, seriously, go back and look at every season prior, every year prior to this year, for the big DLCs, the final season of those DLCs, you will see we did not get any exotic armor. This opinion does not logically make sense because of that. We didn't get fragments or exotic armor for the last 3 or 4 years, yearly reset years in a row. So, go back and look. Witch Queen, Lightfall, Beyond Light, whatever it was. Go check them all out. Seriously, they've all not had it, and they didn't give us aspects or exotics. So, there's obviously something going on there. I'm just saying. You should look at that, mate. Because your point of view here is got a little bit of flaws because of that. I'm not hating on DMG again. I don't want people to go hate on him or say I'm hating on him. I'm just saying he needs to look at what's happened in the past. And if he is being paid to say this, personally, if this was a paid thing he was supposed to type, I would have told him no. I know that can get you fired and stuff. I'm not dumb. But this was so obviously dumb in the sense there's no way people are going to read this and be like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. No, it works. Meanwhile, in the previous years, we've gotten exotic armor and aspects for the 3 out of the 4 seasons, and in the 4th season of the year, we get nothing. It doesn't make any sense. So we're going to continue reading this, but I'm making my point across before people go hating and talking shit. Here's a new exotic that Void... So, again, this is his point of view. He's saying, here's a new exotic that Void Hunters can leverage to become bounty hunters paired with some aspects you already know. Versus, here's a new aspect that Void Hunters can leverage to become bounty hunters paired with overhauled / returned exotics to unlock new approaches to encounters. It's definitely up to taste, and in any case, we'll be collecting and passing along the feedback, gut reactions, and first impressions from the day, but also feedback over time when the episode goes live to see how folks crack open new build crafting potential. RE, I've been hoarding exotic engrams for the new episode, spend them on enhanced exotics to snag some higher stat rolls and such. I was literally doing this just in case, but I highly doubt it. I was pretty damn sure it wasn't going to get exotics, but I was still hoarding just in case. But I was basically guaranteed we weren't going to get exotics. Again, this is no hate to DMG. This is simply pointing out this is complete horseshit. We haven't gotten anything for the last 3 or 4 years in a row. Yearly resets. By yearly reset, I mean when the big DLC officially launches, because obviously the DLCs are all over the place. But whenever a DLC launches, we get 4 seasons after that DLC launches. And that final season every year has been no new exotic armor or aspects in the past. This is the first time we get exotic aspects. Or not exotic aspects, sorry, just aspects, but no exotic armor again for the 3rd or 4th year in a row. Which means, Bungie, that is complete horseshit. So this excuse is not a logical excuse from that simple means. And I'm going to go and we're going to look at the trailer for Heresy back when they first announced it. This is really far back. This is 7 months ago. I want you to listen to this trailer, and then I'm going to explain why we're watching this again. Because it's pretty obvious, but we're going to explain it.
About the Hive Pantheon, dealing with some new interesting revelations that happen. We want to take the Hive Pantheon and shake up the snow globe. It means that we
Funny
want
enough,
to
we just
take
saw
the
it works
existing
and didn't even
relationships
think
that
of
we
that.
see inside of it.
That's a new
and
character looking
put
thing.
them through such a stress
I'm intrigued to
test
see what that is.
that they come out changed.
In Heresy, there's this new eldritch force that's bubbling up to the surface that is opening new doors, creating powerful mysteries.
Hopefully that has to do with the
and
exotic mission.
Ultimately, they'd lead us back to the Dreadnought.
We're going back to the Dreadnought. It's awesome. Some fans might think we've forgotten about the Dreadnought completely, but we're gonna give it a whole new purpose.
We want this to be an eldritch, inscrutable fortress of secrets.
The peeling that you'll see on the Dreadnought, the weapons themselves are peeling back to reveal a new, spooky, bony front. Since this release deals with kind of two big themes, we have two armor sets. We've had some armor sets that are kind of in the Eris theme in the past, but this is like straight up I'm Eris's squad. And then the Hive Ship Navigator armor set explores like, what if we were driving the ship? What if we were the navigators?
If you really like Shattered Realm, if you really liked the Coil, you're going to love this new Dreadnought activity. With every episode, there are a ton of interesting...
Okay, that's the end of that. So, the reason I wanted to show that off is because they literally talk about it, and they show pictures of Oryx too, which is funny. Didn't even think Oryx was coming back when I saw that. I don't know why it was such an obvious thing they were bringing Oryx back with that. The picture showed it for concept. It made so much sense. But the reason we're showing this is the fact that 7 months ago, right here, 7 months ago, they had the ideal perfectly cemented for the most part. Obviously, there's some tweaks and stuff. There's some major things they had to do. I know. But this is from what they've said in the past is how they do these seasonal models. Is the big expansion launches. The first season comes with it shortly after, right? Or right away, depending on the year. And then when that comes out, they wait like a couple weeks to a few weeks, and then they start working on the new season at that point. At that point, they already have a concept, they already have some programming, but they start actually fully focusing on it. By that logic, there is no way they can give the excuse, hey, by the way, we're only going to give you exotic armor 2 out of the 3 seasons, but then the final one, or 3 out of the 4 seasons in the past, and we're not going to give you the final one, the 4th season or 3rd season this time around. We're not going to give you exotic armor. We're sorry, it's not going to happen. We can't do it. It's complete horseshit. You can do 2 out of them, but you can't do it 3 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, but you can't do 4 out of 4. That makes no sense, Bungie. And again, in the past, we've gotten exotic armor and aspects every season except for the final one, for the last 3 or 4 years in a row. This might be the 4th year this year, or it might be the 3rd year this year. It's one of those like that. So, I'm sorry, but it's complete horseshit. I've never heard more of a dumb excuse. We hear here they basically have the whole thing figured out, for the ideals at least. Obviously the programming stuff, but we see a whole bunch of stuff here. So they do it. Like, I mean, look at this. This is some cool pictures. That looks like Oryx, actually. That looks like Oryx too. I wonder if that's got to be the War God, right? Is that Oryx in the War God? What the fuck? Hold up, what? Who's this character, though? We gotta talk about that at some point. That looks sick. Oh, that character looks sick. I hope they kept that character somewhere. He looks sick, dude. Kind of looks like the Witness. He's got multiple arms. Kind of like a baby Witness or something. Or maybe a new disciple or a different disciple we don't know about. I don't know. Looks sick. Either way, my point is, they've told us a thing. They had the whole idea figured out for the most part by the looks of it. Obviously, they had to do the programming stuff, but 7 months ago, they figured out what they were doing. And here we are with no exotic armor again. It makes no sense to me. They could do it last season. They could do it every season when we had 4 seasons before. I get it. The truth is, Bungie's either just doesn't want to spend the extra money to put forth the effort for the final season. Because usually the final seasons of the year are pretty shit. They're either decently good for the activity, but everything else sucks, or they're decently good for loot and everything else sucks. The final season is like the most rough season usually. And especially if they extend it, which they love to do. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here. But in reality, this is the worst excuse ever I've seen. If this is truly his opinion, I get it. I get he might see it that way, but seriously, go back and look. But the way this is written to me what you say when you're paid to say something specific to the community, to the people, to say, oh, this, and that. You know what I mean? This sounds scripted as fuck, not so an actual opinion. So, either way, if it's your opinion, DMG, okay, I get it, mate, but you should really go back and look at every year prior to this, the final shape year. Go Lightfall final year, go to final season Lightfall, go to Beyond Light's final season that year, go to Witch Queen's final season in that year, and you will see there's a pattern here. And this opinion, because of that pattern, that this opinion becomes invalid. Whether this is a paid opinion or a actual opinion, I do not know, but it becomes invalid the moment you pay attention to the pattern. Because this doesn't make sense. This does not follow the logic with the pattern. This was going to happen no matter what because of this pattern. The fact they were nice and gave us aspects is just because they wanted to give us something that took 5 minutes in the long run. And we know that because they said the exotics can take longer than anything else because you have to balance it, make sure it doesn't pair with certain things, make sure it pairs with other things. So, just saying. Whoa, bless me. Bless me. I'm just making a point. There's no new exotic armor. It's dumb. We've had a pattern for years of this same thing. I'm kind of tired of it. I really wish this would stop. But sadly, it's never going to. Bungie seems to want the final season to be the worst when it should. Logically, the final season of the year should be the best because it's going into the next one. But that's just my opinion on it. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment what you think. Do you think this is also dumb? Do you think it actually makes sense? Let me know in the comments. I'll probably disagree or I might agree with you. You never know. Give me a good reason, I might. Y'all have a good day. Thanks for watching. We out.